What up, guys? This is Casey's Raw again, and today I like to talk about wrestling. And today I want to talk about my idea in Aftermath if Dark Side of the Ring decide to do a video about Stone Cold's walkout in 2002 and the aftermath after that. Mainly after the walkout, he's what happened between him and his ex-wife now, Deborah Marshall. So and I was thinking about this, like about the plane ride from hell, how much controversy came out of it when Ric Flair did the whole thing about being naked, just being in his robe and confronting one of the stewardess, and during the helicopter with his, and allegedly she touched, he forced her to touch it, and then pretty much Tommy Dreamer got canceled for a little while because he was defending Ric Flair and, kind of taking a shot at the flight attendant. So, both of those guys got heavily canceled. Flair kind of bounced back. I hadn't really heard anything from Tommy Dreamer. I would say probably the blowback from Tommy is probably done and over with. I mean, it was just a stupid move. He did nothing on the plane ride from hell. He had an opinion that was in poor taste that cost him his job. Not only, been suspended from Impact Wrestling, and I guess fired from Busted Open podcast. So, I feel, imagine what would happen if they would done the story on Stone Cold's walkout and his domestic abuse against Deborah Marshall. That was his ex-wife, obviously. So, really remembered that it was supposed to be on one night on Raw. It was part of the King of the Ring, I believe, that they wanted a newly star Brock Lesnar versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. And I know Brock Lesnar was being already pushed to the moon. I mean, after he won the King of the Ring, he went straight for the undisputed title against The Rock at SummerSlam and won. He was already labeled the next big thing, and that was right. He was, but Austin didn't feel like he was ready to do the job for Brock Lesnar, and I think he was correct about that. But he should have done it a different way, honestly, than bailing on the company. He should have just kind of like maybe do a no-show and say, I don't want to do that angle. But not completely walk out. But then he actually walked out before. I think it was the day after WrestleMania. After WrestleMania 18 against Scott Hall. Rest in peace, Scott Hall. But he just didn't like it. But so when he left, in what looks like they're saying June the 10th of 2002 on Raw, not only he left, his soon-to-be ex-wife, Deborah, went with him. So and she never made a return when he returned in 2003. And they just guess they wasn't ready to have her back. I mean, they just entered. They're gonna induct Queen Charmel. I don't think Queen Charmel deserved to be in the Hall of Fame because she really did not much for wrestling. Booker T definitely does, but not her. But as Deborah, I would probably say the same thing. I don't know. I feel, if anyone, she would deserve a little bit more over Queen Charmel. But reading on, I remember hearing and reading about this in the wrestling sites about when Austin left, and then he was hurt, he was frustrated, he was burnt out. I can understand that. I mean, my body's beat up from doing this my job for 14 plus years. So reading up, I need to go find. There we go. It says on June 15th, 2002. So, shortly after the whole thing with the walkout, that Deborah called the police to their home and told that Austin has hit her on the head, back, and legs, and then stormed out of the house before the police arrived. She suffered a swollen cheek, eye, and bruises to her back and shoulder. I remember him taking off. I think he had a yellow Corvette or something. And you figure he's, what's it called, running from the police then. So, I mean, that's a charge right there. But yeah, it says Austin called the house while officers were there, was told he was in trouble, but declined request to return to the home or report to the police station. I mean, see, he's fleeing this. Not only he's fleeing the crime scene, he's evading the police. I mean, I love Stone Cold, but this I feel could really hurt Stone Cold if Dark Side of the Ring would have done this. But he was charged for domestic abuse, and he pled no contest on November 25th. It was given a year probation and a $1,000 fine. That's pennies to Stone Cold. And carried out 80 hours of community service. In 2007, Marshall, Deborah, told on Fox News that Stone Cold has beaten her 3 times, and that incident was the result of roid rage. And she also stated that WWE knew of the abuse, but concealed the bruises on her face and kept her from revealing that Austin hit her, as it would cost the company millions of dollars. But and he says he was also ridiculed allegations that the incident was alcohol related. And then honestly, shortly after the whole abuse happened, they were having to file for divorce, and it finalized the next year. See, I remember that, I think I remember Deborah saying that she that WWE had a gag order from her saying anything about her abuse from Stone Cold, because, like I said, that it would cost the company millions of dollars, because I mean that was their golden goose for what, 5 years, and they wanted their golden goose back. And if I mean, look what happened to Hogan when the whole Gawker thing happened, when Gawker found a recording of him having sex with Bubba the Love Sponge ex-wife, and then went on to having a racist tirade. I mean, shoot, WWE kicked him off the Hall of Fame, fired him, and took several years before they not only reinstated him. He had to go through like a apology tour in the backstage, and he had to do a few things with the black community just to get back on the good side. And then I remember where Hogan was saying that in the backstage, saying that, remember, there's a camera everywhere, so you gotta be careful what you say. I'm like, just say you made a mistake, and that you learned your lesson, and that it was stupid, and just move on. Don't say almost like, oh, there's cameras everywhere, and use that as an excuse. But I feel like, God, I mean, look what happened, like I said, with the whole Ric Flair and Tommy Dreamer with the plane ride from hell. So I'm afraid if Dark Side of the Ring would do a video on this, it would totally ruin Stone Cold for a while. They might would have to pretty much they would have to distance themselves away. I mean, I'm just afraid it will happen. I mean, but it is true story that happened. And nowadays, I mean, people want to hold these stories, or when people do stupid shit, stupid crimes, they want to hold them to it. I mean, yeah, granted, they need to be held for their crimes. So, I also feel like stuff like, unlike murder, obviously deserve to be arrested. When everything's been settled, like this abuse, and everything's been settled, and he's been good since, I mean, people deserve second chances like that. I'm not condoning what he did, but I mean, this has been 20 years since that happened. And I mean, does Stone Cold, like, she blamed abuse on steroids, calling it roid rage. And people were trying to use that whole thing with Chris Benoit and the murders he did. But I would say, as if Chris Benoit was doing roid rage, it would have been the first night. It wouldn't have been the second night when he killed his son, and the third night when he killed himself. Roid rage only lasts a little bit. So, and I believe that a lot of it's due to CTE. And Austin gotta have some CTE. Most of these wrestlers, mainly when they have taken chair shots to the head, I mean, mainly all these wrestlers who fought from like between the 2010s, early 2010s and back. You know, they took chair shots to the head. I mean, you don't see them anymore. They try to protect themselves, but you see it sometimes where they get an unprotected chair shot, like the one with Cody Rhodes did like long a couple years ago, and had that nasty cut on the back of his head from that chair shot. So, but I'm babbling now. I'm just saying that I feel that if Stone Cold story with Deborah becomes on the dark side of the ring, I feel Stone Cold will get canceled. So I just want to talk about that, and thanks for watching, guys. I'll talk to you later.